champion, the Barn Burner, Landon!
Last month, Van Landon defeated Von Vertigo to become the new Barrie Wrestling Three Pistols champion. And tonight, his first televised defense.
And now, let us find out who has answered the open challenge.
Oh, are you kidding me, Mike Jeffries?
He is weighing in at 225 pounds, hailing from Melbourne, Australia, the Clydesdale, Clyde.
Two of the Australians had to head back home last month. Kaz Jordan and Julian Ward heading back to Australia. But the last member of ATO, or the substitute member of ATO that we saw, the Clydesdale Clyde Kane, he is still here. And he is looking to make a name for himself here in Barrie Wrestling. And what a chance. He could win the Three Pistols Championship tonight.
Do not let that man hear you calling him a substitute for anything. He is the real deal, one of the biggest, strongest, and toughest competitors in Barrie Wrestling, and Van Landon's title reign could be stopped in its infancy with that man in the ring against him.
Now, Van Landon did successfully defend the title over Canada Day weekend at Canada Day Clash, but for his first televised defense, his first defense here on IWTV, he wanted an open challenge. He had no idea who was going to answer it. How do you prepare for somebody like Clyde Kane if you do know ahead of time?
Absolutely. This man is the total package. Physically, I think Jesse V is the only guy stronger than this man. But do not let looks deceive you. This is also a smart, technical wrestler who can go toe-to-toe and hold-to-hold with the best. And Van Landon, his life may have just flashed in front of him when he heard the Clydesdale's music start.
Well, Van Landon not short on toughness. We know that full well. Surviving an absolute war with Von Vertigo last month, including getting jumped by Rajan Husher before the match even started. And Diamond Jim, we have an incredible show coming up here, Summer Brawl 2. As you mentioned, Barrie Wrestling champion Clutch Jesse V, the biggest and strongest and baddest of them all, defending against Bryce Hanson, a young gun coming up through the Ontario Indies. And we have a tag title defense. The Royal family will be defending against Empire, Matt Grant and JT Kirk. But we are starting off with this Three Pistols Championship matchup. And a clash of styles here, Jim. But two guys that are both, Van Landon feels experienced around here, but he's only been wrestling for a couple of years. Two young guns, which is, I think, going to be a bit of a theme of the show today.
Absolutely. It is a new era of Barrie Wrestling. As we head to our incredible 10th anniversary in November, you're seeing so many exhilarating young stars like these two men in the ring. And boy, what a way to kick off Summer Brawl.
You see the power of Clyde Kane, but Van Landon smartly reversing into the corner. The two men now battling for position. Clydesdale complaining that Van Landon was pulling specifically the mullet, not just his hair. You can't pull on a man's mullet.
No, gotta admit, I'm kind of disappointed in Van Landon.
A big shoulder block by the Clydesdale, and then incredible athleticism, Jim. As you mentioned, very smart, very athletic, not just size. A running boot from Van Landon, taking down Clyde Kane. And Van Landon manhandling the Clydesdale there, and then a vicious European uppercut to the back. That'll slow anybody down. Van Landon head of steam, diving European uppercut. Now Van Landon going for the airplane spin aviation, but Clyde Kane had it smartly scouted, slides out the back door and out to the outside. The Barrie Wrestling faithful letting Clyde Kane know exactly how they feel about him.
Well, I love our Barrie.
Jim, sorry, Van Landon taking off and getting caught. And just split in half on the apron by Kane. Sorry, Jim, you were saying.
I love our Barrie Wrestling faithful, but if they don't think highly of this young man, they don't know what they're doing, because he is an absolute powerhouse and one of the future lights of this industry.
I think they're booing the attitude more than the talent, but Jim, you're right. They need to, understand that people like Clydesdale, Clyde Kane are the future of the industry, and into a cover. We almost had a new Three Pistols champion there. Van Landon slammed into the apron and then sent rear end over tea kettle into the corner stairs. And Kane, those clubbing forearms. I think his forearms are bigger than my thighs.
That's a pretty low bar to surpass.
Yeah, I know, but
I think young Kyle's forearms are bigger than your thighs.
And I did confirm his first name is not Young. It is actually just Kyle.
Gee, I wonder who told you that.
Kyle did.
Working with children.
Kane stomping down Van Landon in the corner. Back elbow. And then a discus lariat in the corner. Van Landon nowhere to go. And a European uppercut. Clyde Kane, 3 different strikes, all targeting the chin and jaw of Van Landon. But Van Landon shakes it off, reverses the Irish whip. That's how you do a European uppercut. And Van Landon, he might be hobbled, but he's still trying to rev it up. Looking for the European tour. Oh, Kane again had it scouted. This is the advantage to answering an open challenge. You can scout your opponent. They cannot scout you. Backbreaker and then a ripcord lariat. Van Landon slides out the back door at a count of 2. Clyde Kane paying homage to his fellow Australian Julian Ward, who also, we've seen him use that ripcord lariat in his matches here in Barrie.
And I got to say, we were joking a bit about Van Landon pulling on that mullet, but all kudos to the champion for starting his title reign on the right foot. He is not afraid to face the biggest and baddest and best in indie wrestling. And if he survives this match, I think he's in for a legendary title reign.
Well, we've talked about the parallels between Van Landon and Von Vertigo, and the crowd reaction to Van Landon winning the Three Pistols title last month, I think can only be matched by, unfortunately, an unaired match where Von Vertigo won the Barrie Wrestling Championship 5 years ago. Von Vertigo had the Von Vertigo Invitational. Now Van Landon has this open challenge. Their personalities have certainly differed recently.
Look at this, Mike. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that push-up chokehold?
Yeah. I've never seen that.
Innovative illegal offense, but using the full 5 count in there. Van Landon with the knee and then a right hand. Now he's going for aviation.
That is a big man he's got up there.
And might be a bit too much for Van. Is Kane able to counter out with the elbow? And then Kane taking Van Landon for a trip of his own.
Wow.
An air raid crash landing, and Van Landon just kicking out. And if you look into those eyes, I don't know if anybody's home right now, Jim.
But we've seen Van Landon take on big guys before. Of course, he had those epic matches with Holden Albright. This is a man who has no quit in his DNA. A man who will take a beating and still somehow dig deep to get back in the match.
I had the pleasure of interviewing Van Landon earlier today for the Getting to Know YouTube, which should be out soon. And he talked about that feud with Holden Albright and what he took away from it. And that Holden, kind of like a big brother to a little brother, wanted to unlock this mean streak, this edge in Van Landon. And he's going to need that to win matches like this. Smart drop toe hold by Van Landon. Diving European uppercut to the back. Kane now in trouble. Van Landon taking control. German suplex. Folding up the Clydesdale. The champ's got the momentum right now. Running big boot. Clyde Kane on wobbly legs.
He's calling for it.
Van Landon, 3rd time's the charm, maybe going for aviation. Clydesdale's got a lot of frequent flyer miles, but never quite like this. Into the Chef Valley driver.
Slow cover, though.
Van only able to get one arm across, and a man the size of Clyde Kane, his strength, you need a proper cover to keep him down.
Yeah, Landon absolutely nailed him. Take a look at this German. Oh, perfectly executed. but just that second he took to catch his breath was the difference between sending this match home and fighting on.
Well, he's going for the neutralizer there. That's the match, the move he won the title with. And then Kane going for another air raid crash, but Van Landon counters out. Got him hooked. Neutralizer from Van Landon. The flat out. Van Landon retains.
Here is your winner, and still Barrie Wrestling 3-pistol champion, the Barn Burner, Van Landon!
The new era of the Three Pistols Championship has arrived, and its name is Van Landon.